Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome to Let's Play Civilization 6 as the Maori. I think the main goal for this episode is to get our hands on flight, as well as conservation, and start actually pumping out a ton of tourism from my territory. There's plenty of open tiles that we'll be able to plant colossal heads and forests into, and I think I might go ahead and get rid of some of these rainforests in favor of colossal heads. A good example of that could be over here, for example. I could maybe get rid of this rainforest right here and place a colossal head there. It would significantly reduce the productivity though, so maybe I won't do that. I don't know, it's kind of hard to know exactly where and when I should do those things. But for sure, I definitely want to settle up more cities down and around here. And there's one more city that I want to put in this area. At the very least. There are a couple more potentially, like on that iron over here, and then on the wheat. Although a coastal city here maybe doesn't make much sense when there's not a whole lot of coastal features. It might actually be better to settle on the iron and then inland a little bit. But I for sure, I want to get more settlers down here when I have enough faith. First things first, get the harbor over here. I'm going to go ahead and purchase the monument and granary in Taupiri. I definitely want to get my hands on a theater square, so I'll place that there. Right, there's electricity. Like we were talking about, the nice thing is we can get the seaport, and the seaport will result in a rather large increase in the gold in our capital city. For example, we're working about, looks like 6 coastal tiles, so the Seaport represents about an increase of 14 gold per turn in the capital, which is a pretty significant amount. That's almost on an order of a 12% increase in the amount of gold. Or actually, it's just about a 10% increase in gold, which is not bad for 5 turns worth of production. I think I will slot that in after the next settler. I think I would also like to purchase either the Art Museum or the Archaeological Museum in here. And I think I might just do that right away to get it out of the way so that we actually have the Archaeological Museum in place here. Now, one thing I need to do is I need to get a couple of units onto this island over here so I can start to find the last few civs that I haven't yet met. There's only one left, actually, that I haven't met. So I need to find them because you generate tourism pressure against everyone you've actually met. So if there's a player in the game that you haven't met, you're missing out on some of the tourism pressure that you could be generating because tourism pressure is calculated individually against each AI in the game. So I think a colossal head makes sense to go right here. That's 6 faith per turn, although that doesn't really help this city actually generate any production. So I'm going to make sure I prioritize this tile right here, even if that 6 faith per turn is still really, really damn good. Petra is at 17 turns away. Now, if I were to lock in a bit more production, it would take 4 more turns for the city to grow, but I would shave another 3 turns off the Petra, and I think that's worthwhile doing. The very final fishery in Wanganui, since I don't think you can build them on these deep water tiles. So this city is now completely filled with fishery tiles. So yeah, that's pretty damn cool, because that means it's going to be able to grow quite a lot and still have access to a lot of food. The Maori will be finished in a couple of turns. Apparently, this city cannot trade with my capital. What? How could you not possibly be able to trade with the capital? Am I crazy? How can you not reach it? It's like literally in range. Oh, it's because I had the filter set to filter out the capital. Ah, see, you have to be careful about these kind of things. Right, so I'm going to harvest out this water... Oh, wait, actually, do I want to harvest out this watermill? Hold on. Let me think about that. I could harvest this, but I have an idea for this city. And what I might do is, I think I might... Oh, I cannot get rid of this rice. Okay, so what I might do is I might try to place a industrial zone right... Sorry, this will be the aqueduct right here. I'm going to place an industrial zone right there, and then a dam right over here. So this industrial zone will literally be touching every type of +2 district. So that would be +2, +4, +6, plus another 7, 8. So this will be eventually a +8 industrial zone. And I think that's a pretty cool idea. If only this was a strategic resource. So let's actually make sure we place these districts so they don't get screwed. Place that +8 industrial zone, although it isn't quite yet a +8, and we'll get to finish that watermill And may as well just improve that rice. Speaking of improved rice, this city definitely could use more production. And I think it might be best to buy this fishing tile. I did have to reload the turn due to a bug, so I forgot what I spent my gold on originally. But I more or less did the exact same turn. Now we're in Majapahit, so we are going to want to gain sources in here before we start trying to do proper missions. Granary completed in Kahia. I could go for the Seaport, and that would be a significant amount of gold, food, and housing in here. However, I think it would be far better for me to place down things like the water park, and I think I will place the water park here to give adjacency to this thingy. The city doesn't have a whole lot of stuff. It would be good to get the theater square online, because then I could justify, I could much more easily justify things like the planting of forests in here. So it would be good to get the theater square online. So I'm going to place that as well. Now the question is, which do I work on? Do I work on the theater square or the water park? And honestly, I think I get a builder first, which is neither of those things. But I think getting a builder to place some forests in here and maybe some colossal heads is the right move. Plant a nice fishing tile down here into Mutu. And yeah, working a lot of these coastal tiles. Can't wait to get the Maori in here, because it's going to turn these reefs into really, really good tiles. The city has a really good production line considering it's a coastal city. Now in Taupiri, I think what I'm going to do now, okay, I think this thing got hit by a tornado or something, which is very, very unfortunate. So I'm going to spend some time repairing that. I think this city of Nagarawahia is going to take these two fishing tiles, whereas also this turtle is so far away. Well, I guess it's in range of this technically. Whereas these fishing tiles right here are going to go to Taupiri. Is basically what I'm saying is these two are going for Taupiri and these two will be going to Nagarawahia. Of course, the first thing I want to do is improve that coal tile to pick up all of that extra production to help get the city rebuilt. Let's buy another city, or another tile in the Petra city, and we'll place a mine right there, so that when this city hits 4 population, we should be able to work all 4 of these mines and really finish that Petra quickly. Ooh, there is Taj Mahal. This gives me +1 era score for each historic moment earned after this wonder, if that moment is worth 2 or more era score. Very, very handy. So you can see here that was worth +5. So for example, if I had researched some of these things, I would have got +3 instead. And this is going to help us maintain our golden ages. Now, talking about this city, we could go ahead and try to build the Hermitage. It's actually not a bad wonder to get fairly early here. And, you know, the only other things that I could build are like archaeological museums and art museums and water parks. I tell you what though, I am going to place the water park at the very least. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Place down the water park. And I had really meant to go ahead and get the commercial hub in this city. But, I mean, the temptation of a hermitage in this city is exceptionally high. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the Hermitage. It's a 27 turn build for an extra 4 great work of art slots. But more importantly, it means I can flex on the AI. Now that we have unlocked electricity, our main goal will be to get to flight and eventually radio, so that we can get things like seaside resorts. But mainly flight, because this is where once we have flight and conservation, our capacity to generate tourism is going to skyrocket. We have another Great Admiral here. This is the Great Admiral that creates an ironclad. I'm kind of tempted to create the ironclad and then delete it, although it might not be a bad idea to just promote it with +1 movement and then let it explore, because I have a ton of coal. Finally finished the pretty piss poor +4 shipyard in here. I mean, it'll do the job, and once I get another water park in here, it'll give it, you know, a little bit of extra adjacency. So in the long run, it'll be fine. University completed in Te Pokui. Now, I could go for the Seaport in here. I really want the theater square, and I would also like to maybe do a couple of campus research grants, but I'm not quite there yet, I feel. And we also want to get the water park in here, of course. So I'm thinking the theater square might be the next thing because this will bring this campus up to +5 adjacency. So let's get the theater square done in this city. It's a 9-turn build. The Maori has been completed in Wanganui, and now we can look at this. Look at these turtle tiles, dude. 5 food, 3 production, 3 gold, 2 science, 2 culture, and 2 faith. That is pretty damn good. All of these bonuses working together to create an incredibly impressive city. I don't think I want any of these things in here. None of these wonders really appeal to me. I could, for example, build a canal over there. I don't think I want to do that. I definitely want to get a water park in this city. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to lose a fishery tile. But I'm not too worried about that. But I definitely want a water park in here. And I don't think I really care about any other districts. No. Do I? Not really. These are the things that I care about. Like, I could maybe get a campus. I don't think it's worth it to get a campus. I could get a +2 campus, like here or here. But yeah, no, I think this is pretty much all I want. Now, I am going to want to get Ancient Walls up online, which will probably be done when I'm in the next era, is when I'll start converting faith into wall stuff. But for now, I feel like my production is best spent on the Seaport to maximize the amount of gold that this city produces. Sweet! We got the Archaeological Museum up in Warakawa. And I definitely want to place the water park in here. And I'm thinking I'm going to throw it down right there. So the water park is taken care of. I think the next big thing is either I go for the Seaport or I work on the Archaeologist. I think I might go ahead and just purchase the Archaeologist in here so that I can get to work on infrastructure. And I think it's about time that I started generating tourism. The Seaport doesn't really give me tourism, whereas the water park does directly lead to tourism. So that's a bit of a conundrum I'm stuck in. The Seaport would give me just a stupid amount of gold though. Finally got the theater square down in Tamutu. We have access to the Maori. Now, I'm kind of curious, do I want to hard build this or do I want to purchase it? I think I might purchase it. For sure, I want to place the water park, though. And I'll put it here just for now. So that's that price locked in. I think I might go for the Maori, and I might just purchase it next turn. In which case, I'm just going to go ahead and work on the water park. Purchase a nice fishing tile for Nagarawahia, and then I'll be able to get both of those improved and keep this city pumping away. Alright, Ironclad, time for you to auto-explore, because I don't feel like micromanaging you. I'm kind of getting to the stage of the game where I start automatically moving units and trying not to pay too much attention. And trying to make decisions that are going to be sort of upheld for a while. This is definitely a sort of phase of the game where things can slow down a lot if you're not efficiently making your way through your turns, especially when you have a massive amount of things. So that's why I just don't think about decisions too much that don't matter, and I try to only think about the things that do matter, and then just kind of execute my way through the things yeah, I won both these votes, great, I don't care, or at least I won one of them, but it's not important to me, right? Whereas getting this lighthouse here, that's important because that actually leads to a meaningful upgrade to my empire's capacity. And then another thing that's important to me is actually getting this Maori down here, because that's going to give this city a huge amount of faith and culture. So just little things like that, it's important to manage your attention and capacity. Is spend time on decisions that actually matter. I know that these builders, for example, do not matter. I know this city over here is not super important. So I'm just going to make some very, very basic decisions in here. For example, plonking down a theater square and then forgetting about this city for a long time. Even this archaeologist, I just click on whatever the closest white marker that shows where the thingies are, and then forget about them. I just try to make the most most convenient and easiest to make decision with my units, rather than thinking about a big grand plan. Because if I spent all day micromanaging over every little tiny detail, the game would take forever and I would drive myself up the wall. There's Huey Toakali, beautiful. I think this game is really all about just making every tile have really nice yields, I feel like. based on the wonders that I've built. Like Petra is coming soon. In fact, speaking of which, I'm going to micromanage this city to work all of the Petra tiles, because this will shave another 2 turns off of it while the city is still growing. Now in Kaipoi, I think it would be good to place the water park in here to give it the adjacency. And then of course, I think I'm going to go ahead and work on the Seaport. Although the city isn't actually working that many water tiles, so I think it would be better to go ahead and get an art museum in here, because I'm starting to get closer to getting an artist, and it would be good to just have a couple of art museums ready to go. In this newly settled city, I'm going to come back in here, purchase the watermill, and then I'll come back here once I have a bit more money. Alright, let's grab our very first artifact of the game, and it will be a mummy created by Coupe. Russia would like a friendship. I probably should renew all of my alliances. I kind of didn't care that much about it, so I kind of let them lapse. Oof, major flood. The upside is it did improve the yields, and there's conservation. And conservation is important because now I can actually plant forests. If I come over here, I can plant some woods, get the faith of this colossal head up, and then I'll be able to remove this tile and put a colossal head there, allowing me to get a really, really efficient configuration for tourism generation on this island. Now that we have conservation, there's a really, really important milestone, and that is ideology. Ideology obsoletes, it says it down the bottom, ideology obsoletes the policy lines. Now what that means is, if I were to click on ideology, right, or ideology, that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we have 8 technologies, 8 cultural technologies before we no longer build walls efficiently. So that means this is the phase of the game where I'm going to want to start to consider building and purchasing ancient walls. Of course, I am going to wait until at least the Renaissance is over before I do that, because I can still efficiently purchase settlers right now for faith. There is an argument to be made for naturalists, but I might consider a naturalist if I feel like I'm not going to get the era score needed for another golden age. We got the shipyard in the city of Nagara-Wahia, so let's get to work on the industrial zone. Watermill completed in Huayngaroa. I think we'll get to work on that industrial zone because it's going to take quite a while to build. And once the Panama Canal is finished, it'll be a very, very powerful industrial zone. We do have an absolute ton of envoys right now. And yeah, I think the big thing was to get military science, actually. And I do have access to knights. So if there was like somewhere I could get an easy kill on a unit, like a barb camp. I think there's a barb camp down here. So I might actually go up to here and purchase myself a knight to head down here to get the boost for military science. It's going to take quite a while to walk all the way down there, but I think that's going to be actually pretty valuable for me, because I'm pretty sure like 3 or 4 of these city-states want me to get the boost for military science. Now, these 7 envoys, like I was talking about, Cahokia wants me to train a field cannon, which is never going to happen. So I want to try to balance getting the +2 gold from banks and shipyards and like not spending too many envoys on it. So for example, like I think I'm going to take the Antioch suzerainty, because that's going to represent a significant boost to my gold income, because I'll get the +2 gold in market and lighthouses, as well as the +1 gold for each luxury at the destination of my trade routes. I'm going to take suzerainty of Akkad as well, just because it's easily accessible with a single envoy. And then I think, for the sake of grabbing a bit extra, I think I'll pop 2 envoys into Cardiff as well, because that'll give me access to extra electricity. Oh, it looks like a barb camp appeared over here. I should have purchased a knight up here. I do have actually a couple of infantry units that I can put to great use over here. Don't think I want to change my government at all. I'm very happy with the way I'm doing things. A little bit of spare cash. Let's inject it into this brand new city to get the borders growing and the population pumping as well. Another successful spy steal in London. I think we're going to go ahead and take disguise so that we can move this guy around if we so need to. Mongolia, go away. I do not have a whole lot of cavalry. Mongolia wasn't complaining about my cavalry until I recruited a knight, ironically. There's actually a much closer barb camp over here that I might be able to swing a quadrireme upgraded to a frigate around to help deal with and then get the kill with my knight. hopefully that works out for me. Market completed in here, giving me access to another trade route, which puts me on par to like what my actual trade route capacity should have been. We're still waiting for population in this city because we're kind of working low food tiles. So we're going to lock in that wheat farm and spend 9 turns building a watermill and a granary. The reason why I'm doing that instead of purchasing it, because even if I bought both of these things, I wouldn't be able to work on anything else. So I may as well just try to wait until I can plop down a theater square. Wait a minute, didn't I have a settler heading up this way? Did my settler get hit by the volcano and die and I never noticed? Oh, Jesus Christ, that's brutal. I can't believe I didn't even notice that. I had a settler on the way up to this tile, and it 100% got murdered by the volcano. 100%. Now there's an argument to be made to not improve this because it loses a bit of production, but I think improving camps is a fairly reasonable thing to do. And let's go back to siphoning funds from London. I believe the establish a presence thing will go away from that city, but the fact that the spy is now highly leveled and I do have the intelligence agency means that that's not so much of a big deal. We also just finished the seaport by chopping here because I plan to put a colossal head on that tile. I don't think I want to get any of that stuff, and I don't think I need any more tile improvements. I could use this as a city to spam out builders. I think what I'm going to do is get an archaeological museum in here, and then I'll work on the water park and stuff like that. It's time to just build up a little bit of infrastructure in here. And I'm making nearly 500 gold per turn, and it's still not enough gold for what I would need. But we do thankfully now have another golden age. So I think is that 3 or 4 golden ages back to back. It's really, really powerful. There's the Enlightenment. Not that any of that stuff, not that Enlightenment really matters in a tourism game, I feel like. I mean, I guess you can make it work, kind of. Far more interested in now getting this theater square online, while I run around here and plant woods and colossal heads for this city. Let's inject a little bit of gold into this freshly settled city in the form of a watermill just to help it out a bit. Pop down another colossal head, and here we have roughly 10 tourism per turn on these tiles right here, which has me very excited. Of course, before we ever get that tourism, we do need to research flight, which is only about 11 turns away. Now, in Majapahit, I'm going to do tech stealing, I think, to try to just pick up a little bit of extra science and knowledge. Ugh, there's a privateer here being very annoying. My frigate isn't quite in range to help deal with it, but it will be soon. Also, more barb camps are still appearing on this continent, which is getting very old. Let's grab this coal tile because it's a massively productive tile on the order of 6 to 7 production. Wait. But also it gives me access to a strategic, so that'll be very, very nice for this city. I forgot to get my alliances. Let's do that now. I can't remember. I believe I had a military alliance with the Ottomans, so I'll just get him to pay me a bit of cash. I think I had an economic alliance with Getarja. I had a religious alliance with the Khmer and a cultural alliance with Russia, I believe. I would like to have a trade route going to him, but we'll have to wait the full 80 turns before we get a level 2 alliance. This city, I don't think, really needs to trade with my capital anymore, so I'm going to send this trader to the capital to trade with city-states because I'm suzerain of Kumasi. I think mixing in colossal heads and woods is the right move here, because that'll give me a pretty balanced distribution of tourism, production, faith, culture, all that sort of jazz. There's the boost for civil engineering, and we can claim another great person. Looks like we're picking up a great artist as well as a great admiral. That's going to allow me to form an armada. I was going to put him to sleep. More importantly, this great artist, where did I build that art museum? I'm going to have to look through this. I know I built an art museum somewhere, right? Or did I skip it? No. It was in Kaiapoi. Aha, there we are. I knew I had built it somewhere. So it was in this city, and it's 1 turn from finishing. It just wasn't highlighting, which is why I was having a hard time finding it. Look at that, 25 gold from trading with Lisbon, as well as 8 culture per turn. That is the power. I'm going to trade with La Venta as well. Trading with all of the city-states to try to maximize my gold income. And actually, speaking of which, I do need to get the water park in this city. I'm actually going to prioritize it over a settler, because this represents a huge amount of gold and culture due to being suzerain of Kumasi. Now the water park is actually completed in this city. Well, let's keep let's keep teleporting those to the capital because they're worth more from there. Now that the water park is actually finished in here, I have to try and make some decisions. Definitely feel like a builder is warranted in this city. And then I'll pick up the Ferris wheel and the aquarium. Industrial zone finished in here. Do I want to go straight for upgraded industrial zone, or do I want to go for Seaport? I think this city has plenty of housing, so I'm going to prioritize the food growth now in the short term to try to boost the city's population so I can work more of these tiles and get to 7 population in order to place down the theater square. I think the theater square might go right there. And we will probably chop that tile. Finally finish the harbour up here. I'm kind of tempted to purchase the lighthouse, but I think I'm just going to hard build the lighthouse and then purchase the shipyard when the time comes. Look how far this scout can move on water. It literally just crossed from this continent to the other. But I'm gonna try and cross here and do a bit of exploration on the inland in here. It would be good for me to get a few more scouts and stuff like that on the way. I might even go ahead and upgrade this quadrireme and get it to scout up here as well. See if we can't take out that privateer. That will give me a promotion. And this goddamn pikeman came forward. And my job is to try to kill him to get a boost for military science. Do you really have to stand there in my way? That's where I want to settle, goddammit. He's probably going to try to fortify and heal there. And it is going to really annoy me. Oh, no, he moved. Thank goodness for that. Well, that pikeman actually decided to attack my fortified knight and got obliterated. Well, that means I can get the kill here, get the boost for military science, which gives me a ton of envoys with a bunch of these city-states, and actually got me suzerainty of Kabul, which is really nice. And then also on the flip side, I get to take out that privateer. Art museum completed in Kayapoi. Let's create our very first great work. It is, of course, a sculpture. And with the completion of this art museum, I think it's time I got to work on the ancient walls in here. Seaport would be good in here, do not get me wrong, but the city isn't working that many coastal tiles. And since I have conservation, walls are worth tourism now, so that's something I should be very mindful of when I'm making decisions about what to build in my cities. So we just got nationalism unlocked, which is giving us the ability to get another spy, so that's something I need to consider. Where and when am I going to get that spy? It could be in this city. It's only 8 turns of production, so I think I will grab it in Kayapoi. It's as good a city as any to pick that up. Now over here in Ruatoria, I think I am going to purchase the shipyard in here, because this city just needs some help, and then I'll slowly work on the seaport to help this city even more. Let's promote Reina with the Contractor Promotion, and that means I'll be able to purchase districts with her. You can see here, a theater square will cost me about 1,200 gold, which isn't too bad, all things considered. I mean, when you consider that it's like 300 or so production for a theater square, paying about 1,000, not so bad. Archaeological Museum in Wanganui is finished. I'm going to go ahead and hard build the archaeologists to try to save a bit of cash instead of purchasing all of them. I do have room for more trade routes, so that's something I need to take care of, but I really do want this Ferris wheel earlier rather than later. Similarly, I also want more room for artists, because I'm already about to get an artist, so I might just purchase the art museum in Tamutu and work on things like the Ferris wheel and the seaport in here. I think the seaport is probably better to get first because it's significantly more expensive and has a significantly higher payoff in terms of resources compared to the Ferris wheel. Are you kidding me? As my settler got here, a bunch of barb units appeared. Yikes. Ooh, nice. We finished the Petra. And that's going to mean that this city has stupid amounts of production, gold, and food. And we can start to build things like the Theatre Square. Theatre Square is a little bit less important to me in this city compared to maybe getting the production line online. So I might spare some time here for the aqueduct and the dam. But the very first thing I'm going to do is lay down the industrial zone and get that moving, and then the aqueduct, then the dam, then the Theatre Square. And then I think that's everything in here for now, so I can delete all these pins since they're already placed. I'm going to gamble and hope that this skirmisher does not decide to murder my scout or my settler. It's a very, very slim hope. But I mean, I guess I can kind of throw away settlers because I just have so many of them. Whoa, where did these guys come from? This barb camp just appeared out of nowhere right now. Man, it's on like the only unexplored tile anywhere near my empire. What a absolute kick in the teeth. Let's go ahead and teleport this great artist down to Tamutu, where we got that art museum. Thankfully though, my settler was not captured, so I'll be able to settle the city and then just purchase the barb camp to make it go away. My spy did successfully capture the 880 gold, but he was forced to retreat. And I think a +6 shipyard here might be good. Actually, how much is the shipyard in here? This is also a +6. This city is kind of older, so I'll get it first. We're doing a seniority distribution here. Older gets the first dibs. I'm going to go ahead and take grants because I do want to pick up curator here soon. I feel like a +4 colossal head is good enough. I'm trying to do a nice mixture of forests and colossal heads. Basically, like, if I build a forest on one tile, I try to build a colossal head adjacent to it so that I get a good mix of both, and I will get both of their yields in good measure while also having really good tourism. Soon I will be getting a ridiculous amount of tourism from flight. And it looks like the thingy against Genghis Khan passed. I didn't care about that much, so I didn't put any gold towards it. And I'm settling a tundra city whose job will be to generate faith and tourism via having forests and colossal heads in the area. Completed the granary over here, which means it's time to go ahead and pick up the theater square. Successfully stole metal casting, but my spy was caught and had to run away. I have 4 envoys to play with. I could take suzerainty of the Babylonians, which would give me a significant boost to my science. I don't care that much for science right now, though. I think I'm going to use 3 of these envoys to pick up some friendship points with Cahokia here, although I could go all the way up to this. Yeah, I think I'm going to put 3 into Cahokia so that I can get the +2 in every shipyard and bank. And we're making nearly 700 gold per turn. It's a absolutely monumental amount of gold. Michelangelo shall start creating his great works down in Tamutu. And we'll pop a forest up in Warakara. Interesting that the game decided to work the colossal head here. I think that's actually better than the colossal head tile. I think it's partially because I have faith focus, because I wanted the city to work features, but I'm going to go ahead and say culture, production, and food are going to be like our high priorities here. No, you didn't have to stand there. That's where I want to put my city. Please don't fortify. Don't fortify. I want you to move. Unbelievable, dude. I'm going to have to settle a suboptimal city. Not the end of the world, but it will do. Hey, Panama Canal. I feel like I'm getting a wonder every few turns. A wonder appears, and I'm happy. Although one big problem I have is that I severely over-earned on Golden Age points this era, which will come back to bite me in the ass. But there is the Panama Canal. Very nice. Double dams with a Panama Canal itself in the center. And don't forget, this actually does indeed count as a wonder, giving me +2 score. And this also counts as a canal. These are the canal tiles. I can get industrial zone adjacency from them. Very, very cool. Right, with the completion of the Panama Canal, I definitely want to get a water park in this city, and I think I'll go ahead and plop it down here. You know what? Now's as good a time as any to start building a few ancient walls all around my empire, and just start getting walls in general. Like, unless I have like museums to build, I think walls are the right call. Now, these great artists are going to be coming in very fast, so I'm going to want to, just always have at least one art museum being built while I'm building archaeological museums at the same time. Finally have enough gold to purchase in Kapiti to get its shipyard online. I'm going to go ahead and build the granary. I will place... Oh, the theater square. I don't have a good spot for the theater square. I'm just going to throw it down anywhere, because the main value of the theater square for the Maori isn't necessarily in its adjacency bonuses. It's just generally its effect on the terrain. Lighthouse completed in here. The city has great production, but we'll just slowly build up the basic infrastructure now that the city is starting to look really nice. I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up gunpowder so that I can get musketmen for two reasons. First, my quarries will be improved, and I do have a fair few stone tiles in my empire, so that represents a significant increase in the production capability of my empire. But I'm also going to swing up here for computers. Also, we just unlocked flight, which has basically tripled my tourism per turn. If I go into the tourism map mode now, you can see we are earning tourism on a ridiculous amount of our tiles. You can see here, these colossal heads are earning about 5 tourism per turn, whereas these unimproved forest tiles are receiving 1 tourism per turn. I'm going to want to go through and build not only colossal heads, but forests everywhere, especially in cities with mares, to try to maximize my output. And so, to that end, I actually think it's now more faith efficient to get builders at this point of the game rather than getting settlers. So I'm going to be using my faith to crank out a stupid amount of builders. In particular, in cities like Otarapa, where I can do a little bit of harvesting and retooling to maximize my my stuff here. So I'll purchase the builder in here, and you know what, for just good measure, I'm going to triple purchase all of its walls just to make the city feel good, so it doesn't ever have to worry about actually building those. I'm also going to want to start mass producing builders in Wanganui, because now builders are my greatest source of tourism, and you could make the argument that I maybe should have had some builders on tap. But I think with the advent of conservation, flight, and stuff like that, I think we're on a great track for victory. We already had 4 out of 113 tourists. And yeah, I do have to settle on a suboptimal city here, which kind of sucks, but you know, it's not the end of the world. Let's keep mass producing harbors, because they're just like really damn good. I think basically, I think any colossal head that has like 4 adjacency or higher is worth doing. 3 is kind of maybe a hard sell, so I'll put a woods there instead. Hey, we finally met the last civ in the game, and that is Poland. So we are now firing on all cylinders. We are now generating tourism pressure against every civ in the game. And so now I have a significant amount of tourism. I'm actually going to go through and make sure I have open borders with everyone. That was something I was kind of neglecting to do. Partially because I wasn't really making that much tourism, and I wasn't really bothering. But now that I'm pretty far into the game, I think open borders is important. Thankfully, it looks like the majority of the AI were already trading open borders to me, which is, you know, pretty damn nice. Now, thankfully, Toa are strong enough with a couple of promotions to take out these pikemen and these skirmishers. But I think now is the time to basically go through my entire empire and mass build walls, since we're so close to ideology. We're not going to have a whole lot of time left for pretty much anything else. So whenever a city's production queue comes up, I'm going to be plugging in ancient walls. And I'm even going to be converting over cities that weren't necessarily... well, I guess the harbour is super important to get online, isn't it? Alright, beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and trade with Babylon to get another envoy with them. That will not give me suzerainty, but I am only 1 point away, so I'm going to plug that in, because I will get a little bit of science from all the great works that I have. So getting suzerainty of Babylon makes me very happy. I have ancient walls in the capital. Man, I really want these museums. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Archaeological Museum first, and then go back for medieval walls. Archaeologist completed in Wanganui, which makes me very, very happy. Let's go ahead and move that trade route to the capital, because we're trying to centralize those trade routes into the capital. And I can start moving these builders that I'm producing in Wanganui out to the world. The question is, I think ancient walls is a good investment. I think walls in general are just a high priority investment for my empire. at this stage of the game. Okay, I have my 3 spies. I've sent 1 to London, I sent 1 to Ulundi, and I think I'm going to send maybe the next one to Rouen to try to pick up as much gold as possible. Beautiful. There is the musketman and the +1 production from quarries, as well as industrialization. This is going to mean I want to plug in the card military research eventually. The question is, how important is that compared to veterancy? I think since I don't have a whole lot of Renaissance walls finished, I'm going to prioritize not plugging that in for the short term. One thing I need to be clear on, and this happens all the time, and it's something I need, you guys should watch out for in your games, is sometimes your cities will claim tiles that they actually can't work. Doesn't happen all the time, but it's something you should keep an eye out for. Like, for example, my capital city right now, if I go to the Empire map mode, it claimed this tile that's 4 tiles away, which means it can never work it because it's out of tile range. So it's going to swap that to this city. Ooh, catastrophic eruption. That didn't seem to affect anyone because this volcano is out in the middle of nowhere. But we did pick up another great admiral. I have a ton of them just sitting around. Not really much I can do with them. Although this is Nelson, I believe. That makes your ships ridiculously powerful. He does instantaneously build a lighthouse and shipyard. So I might want to try to find a coastal city with a freshly built harbor that has yet to be improved. And Taupiri looks like the perfect candidate. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer Nelson over to Taupiri so that I can transfer. There you go. And we'll be able to get this instantaneously built up into a shipyard, which is really, really nice. Yeah, basically what I'm doing is I'm just going around my cities, making sure, you know, that they're building their walls, because it's about that phase of the game. Because walls are going to be worth a lot of tourism, just like builder charges. So right now my main goal is to build builder charges and walls, because I can convert those into tourism extremely efficiently. Just popping down colossal heads everywhere, watching that tourism number climb every single turn, especially since I'm excavating artifacts all throughout this as well. And I'm also keeping an eye on any great people. In particular, I'm looking for great merchants with regards to tourism generation. They don't tend to come this early into the game, but like, for example, I could have grabbed that one, but this is around about the time of the game where great merchants who are really valuable for tourism start appearing. So I am going to want to keep those in mind. Like I said, I would show you more footage, but it really is just me like auto switching between my cities and then clicking on walls. And that's pretty much all of the gameplay that we're seeing right now. I will show you, however, Horatio Nelson instantly building a lighthouse and a thingy in here, turning these fish tiles into incredibly powerful tiles instantaneously, as well as giving me a +8 production boost from that shipyard. Like, we're only a few turns on from picking up conservation and flight, and we're already pumping out 246 tourism per turn. Need I remind you that I was only making like 50 to 60, like a handful of turns ago, and we're finishing even more wonders as well, which is going to result in huge amounts of tourism. Now, in Otarapa, my goal is to try to get this city to grow a little bit bigger. So I maybe would have built an aqueduct or a dam, but I definitely want to get a neighborhood in here. And I definitely want to get neighborhoods in a few different cities. Although, to be honest, if I think about the whole neighborhood thing, right? The shopping mall gives you +4 tourism, as well as some gold and amenities. Whereas I could just place a colossal head with a builder charge and get +4 tourism. So building neighborhoods really doesn't make sense to me when I'm spending 321 production plus another 440 production to get +4 tourism per turn and a couple of amenities, when I could build builders for 202 production and get potentially, 4 to 5 times the amount of tourism from a single builder than I would building a neighborhood and a shopping mall. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. Now, of course, we did just enter into a new era. So we no longer can purchase things for faith. However, we do have access to some potentially really interesting things here. For example, I could take Hicks on Dracones. I've already settled all my cities that I care about. I could take Heartbeat of Steam. This would give me a little bit of production towards wonders. I don't have that many campuses, so I feel like Reform the Coinage is like the best themed ability here, because I'm on 653 production, and that brings me up to 686, which is not a huge amount by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not a terrible amount either. And I'm also got a double charge Leonardo da Vinci, which means that all of my workshops are going to be worth +2 culture each. Hey, I circumnavigated the globe just as this new era rolled around. Perfection. And now I do want to get my hands on a couple of naturalists as well, so that I can get some beautiful era score from that. There's mobilization, which is going to allow 1 new Casus Belli. More importantly, I need to watch out for these barb camps. Thankfully, this one appeared really, really far away from me. Renaissance walls will be completely completed in Opango. I could definitely use a builder in here to develop this city's land, so I'm going to go ahead and get that. I have 4,000 gold in the bank, and I also have Reina ready to pop off and purchase a theater square in this city over here, and that's going to be a +1 theater square that I will then invest instantly into getting the Maori, instantly into getting the coal power plant, and instantly I would have liked to have purchased the art museum as well, but I made the city way more powerful. You can see here the city now has 60 production thanks to all the investment I did into it, and I can move Reina out of here and maybe move her to another city that I could start to develop. Question is, where do I want to move her to? Ideally, it would be a city that is relatively underdeveloped and will need help getting its district in order. And I think Opotiki could be a good candidate there. Let me see, are there any fresh cities with lots of population? Not really. So I think I'm gonna move Reina to excuse me. I want to reassign Reina to Opotiki, and we'll be able to purchase a theater square in there as well. Second charge of Leonardo da Vinci, and now we can go in and check. If we go to the buildings map mode, I hover over the workshop, you can see it's +1 production. Let me see if I can get the UI to refresh. There it is. It is now +3 production, +2 culture on our workshops, which isn't half bad. I do really want James Watt, which makes me want to consider actually working industrial zone projects. Also, can we talk about the adjacency on this district here? Look at this, +6. I basically surrounded it in wonders. Hey, my spy Ruru got a promotion. I'm going to go ahead and promote him with siphon funds because he is in Ulundi, and Ulundi is a good spot to steal money from. Yikes, major flood, did a bit of damage, far from ideal, but we did just finish the industrial zone here. That makes me happy because it's a really good one once we have all this other stuff made. Unfortunately, due to damaging the city, I'm not able to continue building the walls, so I may as well get to work on the aqueduct. I've actually decided to reassign Reina to Kapiti for 2 reasons. I'll show you now here in a second if I can find it in the goddamn list. Because it has an already placed theater square, and it's really, really close to actually growing. So what we're going to do is try to emphasize a little bit of extra growth in this city. And the reason we want to do that is so that when Reina is fully established here, we'll be able to purchase 2 districts. I'll be able to finish the placed theater square, and then also get a really quick water park to get the city to develop really fast. Up to 300 tourism per turn, which is not bad at all. I think I'm going to go ahead and call the episode here. We're very, very close to hitting an acceleration point. We're also just about to get our very first naturalist for the measly price of 1,020 faith. And I got to try and figure out where the hell I'm actually going to place him, because I've pretty much improved or used every piece of land available to me so far. That's going to be it from me. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.